It's great that we get out here. It's important food for our people. It's necessary food for some of our ceremonies and gatherings and feasts. Part of who we are as Anishinaabe people is why we come to this area is because our people had a vision to go where the food grew on water. And with the college, sometimes people don't grow up around here. They'll come back home to go to college, then they come to tribal college and they finally get to experience some of our traditional practices like wild rice. So that's what we do at the college, is to keep the tradition alive. One knocker we'll use to bring the rice in, and you'll have another in your other hand and you'll tap it into the boat. For our regulations, they got to be 30 inches or less. So any light, dry wood would work, any type of pine. So the polar is going to stand in the back. On the flat bottoms, you'll probably stand about here. When you step into the middle of the boat when you're getting in, don't step on the side. It'll roll and tip. Keep your feet in the middle of the boat and it'll be balanced. And just push the pole along and go. The knocker is going to sit roughly just back far enough so you're not hitting that pole. Then you'll bring the rice in like that, tap it, an nice, gentle but firm swing. When I swing, my swing ends up like right about there, so you're knocking the rice into the boat. If you're knocking it over there, so you're going to shoot it out of the boat. If you tip over in the boat, the one person will sit in the bottom and the other person will get on the point right here. You come in from this side, you have to kick and pull hard and just pull yourself up onto the boat. And if this person needs to kind of get back here, you sit in the middle and you help pull that person onto the board. For the polars, if you lose your balance, you jump out, you get a little wet, we'll pull you back in and we keep going. So when you're out there with the rice, the way the wind's blowing is this way, so I go crosswind with it. The rice will lean over your boat. You have to gently bend it down and tap it. What you don't want to do is go straight into the wind with it. It will be coming right at you. When you try to bring that rice back over into the boat, a lot of times people crack stalks, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to break the stalks. If we hit it now, the right way, the stalks will pop right back up. We can go out there again in a couple of days and hit that same rice and get more rice. So we just take care of that rice when we're out there. Be gentle and do nice swipes with it. This is the push pole, or the pole. And it has a duck bill at the end. It's the metal duck bill that'll collapse when you're pulling it in. But in the water, it just spreads it out, increases the surface area so you can push and it won't sink into the mud as bad. I'm looking for thicker patches of rice. Right now you look for the thicker patches of rice, and also you watch the size of the heads. Like here's a pretty good group of rice right now. And you're also watching for other boat trails so you're not going down the same boat trail if possible. Right now we're going downwind with the rice. When we have a larger bed, I like to go crosswind. So the rice will naturally just hang over the boat. And you just hit that one side and keep moving. The knocker has do a lot less work when the rice is leaning the right way. The water levels affect the wild rice here a lot. Sometimes the rice can flourish pretty well in low water, but the water level will affect it a lot. If it's too low, there could be a bumper crop of rice, but then we can't get into it because our boats won't float and it'll be all mud out there. You'll be dragging bottom the whole way, so it's so low that we won't be able to get out there. One of the things with Leech Lake and some of our big lakes is the Army Corps of Engineers, they control water levels on our lakes. So sometimes the Army Corps of Engineers will take water when the southern states are in a drought. And we may not be in a drought up here, but they'll take a lot of our water from our bigger lakes for down south, and it hurts our rice crops. Or if there's flooding in the spring, they'll hold our water back, and that's not good for our rice either when it gets too high. During certain stages of the rice development, it'll be floating on top of the water before it stands up. During that stage, water fluctuations or high water will affect the rice. It's very delicate at that point. The roots ain't really established firmly into the soft muck. So if we get too high of water at that stage, it'll pull the rice up. Right here in Anderson's Cove, we have invasive species that are taking over. Starry stonewort, which is a plant or a weed that will also compete with the same type of area that wild rice naturally grows in. And we also have Eurasian milfoil, faucet snails, zebra mussels. When I'd go down to beds with my dad and everybody, it was 10, 15 years ago, you'd see a lot of elders out there. You wouldn't see too many young people. Now with the college and DRM, take a kid ricing, and also the price of rice, more of the youth are getting more interested in learning our traditions. As you're bringing it in, as you're hitting it, not all the rice goes into the boat. Percentage of the rice will fall outside of the boat, fall back into the water. Our traditional way of harvesting it is we're replanting as we go and reseeding as we go. Then the wind will also take some, so it'll just a natural way to get our food. The rice will ripen from the top of the head down. Get like a good half or quarter of that rice early. And later in the season, you can go back out there and get the rest of that rice. If you look at the rice grains, there's like a hair on it. We call it a rice beard. It has like a, kind of rough, has ridges or scales and barbs. So as it goes deeper and deeper into the mud or into the lake, it'll only travel in one direction. So it's great at self-planting itself. We'll take the rice, this green rice is what it's called when it's harvested directly off the lake. It means unprocessed. The majority of it is actually in Minnesota. They got wild rice also in Wisconsin and Michigan. But all the bands are independent sovereign nations and they have rights to create their own conservation codes. So everybody's conservation codes are a little bit different. For us, we have an NRAC ricing committee made up of elders and other people that are actively utilizing our resources, hunters, gatherers, and they have a lot of knowledge of our lakes and our traditional practices. So that's the committee of people that will open up our lakes. They will go out there and check our lakes and tell us when the rice is ripe and ready to harvest. State laws is every year in August 15th, the season opens. You can go ricing. The bad thing about that is sometimes the lakes aren't ready, so people will go out there and try to rice green rice. And that's against the law, but people will go out there too early and it really messes up our rice beds. My dad taught me, then my grandmother and grandpa taught him. And my grandma, she riced till she was like 80-some years old. She really had the technique down and could get really nice, clean, heavy rice. That's who I still look up to and try to get my rice as clean as she could, but I'm still working on that. So I'm still out here learning as I'm teaching.
So right now we're parching, and parching the rice both dries out the kernels and dries out the hull on the kernel. So the goal is to get the kernel toasted, super dry, and to get the hull surrounding the kernel super dry so that it easily rubs off. So it takes about a half hour, 45 minutes to do this, and then once it's roasted to perfection, we'll transfer it to the jigging pit, and that's when we'll dance off the hulls. If we don't stir it, it'll start to burn, so you just have to keep stirring it the whole time so that it doesn't burn. It just takes time. You can only go so fast. When it's done, and I rub it between my fingers, it'll shatter right off. That came off pretty easily. It stayed in one whole piece. It didn't really shatter. And then when I bend it, it'll break. And this one is almost done, and there'll be a really glassy, hard surface to the broken kernel. We're going to dig a pit here. So this is where we're going to jig the rice, dance on it to remove the hulls. So first I'm just getting a big enough pit so your feet will fit in it. And you want the side walls to be kind of vertical, and the bottom to be totally flat. And then I'm going to line it with brain tanned elk hide, and that'll keep the dirt off the rice and provide friction between moccasins. People wearing moccasins will dance on it. That abrades the hull off. So I just want to stake out this elk hide so that as we dance on the rice, the hide stays in place. I put my weight on the poles, so each time I step, I kind of twist my heel side to side. You can lean on your elbows, or you want to think about this action of abrading the hulls off with your moccasins. And then every once in a while I'll stop and I'll kind of move the rice around, or sometimes I'll just change directions how I'm standing, put some weight on that pole so you don't just totally break up the rice. This process is called winnowing, and this is a winnowing tray, or in Ojibwe Moan, it'd be a nushkachinagan. Birch bark winnowing basket. Just kind of drop the tray down. It makes its own wind. So we'll get that water boiling. As soon as the water's boiling, we'll have this ready.
Find somebody if you can that had riced before. See if they'll take you out. One of the first things that you really need to do though is if you're gonna go ricing with somebody, you gotta have your equipment. So try to make your own pole or a set of knockers. So if somebody needs a partner last minute and you got the tools and are ready to go and you can make it out. But otherwise just find a friend or a family member and borrow a canoe and pole and knockers and just get out there and try it.